Hey guys, what's up? It's Schla welcoming you to a surprise episode of car rides, of walks, of walks with Schla. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, so, but I think God is watching and, kind of shoving me into this episode. I don't know what he's really thinking because I don't got anything to talk about. Like, there's nothing for me to talk about. I haven't been brainstorming at all. I think the day's going by relatively well. Like I said, I'm still riding the wave of feeling pretty good. I think post illness, I'm feeling a lot better. And we're just, still riding that wave, still moving forward, I guess. That's all there really is to it. But like I said, I'm pretty insistent also on the fact of my return to my cheese, as well as an increase in beef, being two pretty major levers for my improved mood. And yeah, I mean, again, it's a shame because it's very expensive, but I cannot live well without that cheese. Now, the next thing that's kind of interesting is my discovery of my love for it refrigerated, because this whole time I've always just had it melted. I'm not really sure why. It's just one of those things that I never really questioned. And of course, before I discovered keto, I was eating grains and stuff, which, again, now in retrospect, that stuff is just so slimy and gross. Slimy noodles. Now, of course, mine would be minimally slimy when I started cooking. I cook al dente, of course. I mean, you really want it as firm as possible, and so nobody cooks pasta better than me. I remember one time at my grandparents', they made pasta, and they were, I mean, I wish I would have just helped them. I would have, you know what I'm saying? I was there. I guess they were just getting the food together, and some of the planning was off, and it's a shame they didn't just give me the reins. I mean, I literally would have helped. I would have been happy to help cook it, because I get it right. But yeah, they made it much too mushy, and I almost couldn't even eat it. And that tends to happen when it's like that. So literally just cooked enough to avoid the crunch is the perfect pasta texture. Anyways, pasta's gross, and I can't believe I lived off of that for as long as I did. But anyways, this newfound love for just eating beef refrigerated and eating the cheese refrigerated. Like, I kind of thought that melted cheese was my favorite. You think about pizza and you think about how good that is. But I don't know, there's really something appealing to me about just having everything unheated. I was just putting it in the microwave because, I don't know, it's just, that's like kind of what you do, right? It's just kind of what everybody does. You usually heat up meat. It's more appetizing, but I actually kind of I like it a little cold. I like it chill. I mean, it kind of matches the rest of how I am because, I like, I don't know, I like cold things. Like ice cream's easily my favorite dessert, second to none. So I liked when I ate fruit before I knew fruit was toxic. That's, again, I don't, but anyways, fructose is kind of toxic, but that's a whole other conversation. I'm not everything I say is dead serious, and I think it'd be interesting if some people are able to pick that apart or piece it together. Yeah, what's the difference between picking apart and piecing together? Can you pick apart the pieces, or can you piece the pieces together? And why does that basically mean the same thing? All right, so anyways, And so when I reincorporated the cheese, that's been something I'm thinking about doing. But here's the thing. I honestly don't like fat as much in liquid form. So, for example, everybody likes butter melted. I don't think I would like it melted as much. Isn't that weird? It's like hard to explain. But my preferences are very complicated because no, I wouldn't like butter just straight up solid. I think this would be like the ultimate buttered toast in my opinion. So you have butter to a liquid state and then you saturate a slice of bread with the butter and then you put that into the refrigerator and let it re-solidify with the butter saturated into the bread. I think that would be the ultimate combination. But anyways, so when I heat up the beef, the fat and the meat separate and you get, you know, the liquidy butter pool and you get the meat brown part on top and it separates. And I never really liked that. Isn't that interesting? I mean, a lot of people might like to drink it or consume it that way. I just don't really like it that much. I'm not really into oil or things like that when it's separate like that. But I actually think if I had olive oil and it was refrigerated, that might be something I could be down for. Isn't that weird? Like if you saturated a roll with olive oil but refrigerated it so that it was more solidified. So it's interesting. I've actually just been liking my food unheated up. It's definitely more convenient. But I think it alters the taste, you know. Now cheese, to be fair, cheese, there is an appeal to heating that up. I obviously am not going to lie in that regard. I think it's just the meat. Like, I like when the fat is firm. I don't really like when it's like a pool of liquid. It just tastes a little bit grosser, or maybe it's denser. But again, I don't really think this should be that surprising to myself because ice cream is my favorite dessert. And in terms of pastries, I always like the creams. So when it comes to beef and the beef fat, why wouldn't I like it solid? You know what I'm saying? So there's that whole aspect to it as well. Like this isn't really that crazy for me, even though to a lot of people it probably is crazy, and that's okay. That's okay if you think I'm crazy, but I don't know. The more you know, right? Because it's more like a cream when the fat is solid. So I'm just going with the flow. But what I'm finding is that my appetite is back. Like, it's crazy. Even though I'm adding more food, my appetite is actually increasing. And I don't know if it's something in the cheese doing that, but that doesn't really make a lot of sense because, yeah, I don't know. But my appetite seems high, which is a very good sign. So I think for this week, we're going to reintroduce eggs and see how that goes. I've even thought about wanting more beef, but I think that is probably not going to happen because I'm already consuming so much beef. But yeah, I mean, the cheese is great. It's amazing. It's expensive, sadly, but at least it's obtainable. I mean, I don't know what else to really... At least that you can still get it. We're not in some crazy calamity right now, but yeah, that's the good stuff. That's definitely the good stuff. And again, like I said, I was really trying to hunker down and annihilate it out of my life, but that's just not going to happen. I knew that wasn't going to happen, and I don't know. I don't think I'll ever be able to quit it. It's just what my body has always been attracted to, really. Beef and cheese. There's not really any other food I want or need. Ice cream as a dessert. and then beef and cheese, and that's it. I don't really know what else to mention with that. It's just simple. I'm simple to please. I have mentioned, though, I might like to experiment with marinara sauce added into there, splash that in there. I tried that once, but I put way too much, and my body, like my mouth kind of felt like it was too acidic or too strong. And I think it's because I'm so used to eating such a tame palate. So at some point I might do marinara, but it would be a very, very small amount compared to what I had done. I've also been curious to add some olive oil into the mix, but I'm not entirely sure about that. Haven't really done it, but I think we will add eggs back. I think that's going to happen for this week. See how that goes. Hopefully it goes, Hopefully it goes. But yeah, what else is there to talk about? I know that wasn't very deep or very groundbreaking, but like I said, I don't know what God's doing dragging me out here, because I did not have anything to say. Of course. But I'm here for a reason, so maybe if something comes to me that is that profound, it'll make sense, it'll be worthwhile, but for the time being, it's not. I'm not really thinking of too much. Like I said, I guess I've been in a stretch of peace, or feeling more at peace about things. And yeah, I've been talking a lot though too, so I kind of think basically, since I'm doing this recording, it's not taking that much effort, which to me, that is indicative of something larger potentially, because, and things could change. Like I said, I'm really not trying to force this. If I can't do the walk switch law, that's fine. I really wasn't in the beginning. If you could go back, there's probably footage of me saying the same thing about car rides, which how originally I was saying the same thing. Oh, I don't want to force it. It is what it is. It comes, it goes. And just to take note too, I do remember this morning's car rides, which was kind of bad. At certain points of it, I didn't really have much to say. I was there's gaps in it. I'm just remembering that now. Whereas now I actually have more to talk about, which is, again, it's interesting, but I think the car rides, which it's longer, so it's hard to fill, and I'm also driving. And to me, it's really easy to talk and walk, but it is not that easy to talk and drive, in comparison. I'm good at both, but I just think it's just a matter of truth that it's just difficult to. Yeah, now I forgot what I was talking about. That's really a shame. Oh, I'm so mad about that, because I was about to say something interesting, but then I had something else I wanted to comment about, and then, yep, now we're all messed up. Great. I knew I was just juggling way too many things in my head at once. Well, maybe it'll come back to me, but maybe it won't. I'm not really sure. I think I kind of remember, actually. So, yeah, I was talking. Yeah. I think I'm going to be able to get it. So, it was. I never wanted to force it, or even now, it can't be a forced thing. But my whole point is, I think there's evidence of something going on. If for this whole time I wasn't talking at all, and then now I've been talking a lot, the amount of time I've been recording content has increased a lot. Before now, all that time was spent in silence. So it goes to show, and this is again a change that occurred with little effort. Like I'm not like forcing myself to do this. Like I want to do it. It's fun. It's interesting. You know? And so again, that like leads me to question the effect of what I'm doing. I mean, maybe it's just something that is creating an inner peace. Maybe there's been so much for me to say and yet no outlet for me to create with it. But like I said, I kind of realized, and it is kind of interesting to think about how much I was pushing for private conversation when now I realize now like I kind of should be trying to avoid private conversation because it's not recorded, and the person I shared the moment with is not going to care about it as much as me. So at least if it's recorded, at least if I'm talking to myself in a recorded setting, it's permanent. At least I know it's permanent, and even if nobody sees it at the moment because not many people are watching my content yet, that's fine. But I'm saying that at some point it could be seen. Whereas like if you have a personal conversation with somebody and it's in private, I've talked about it before, it really eats at me that there's so many conversations or things I said that I know the other person just doesn't really remember or think about that much with as much significance. And this whole problem gets solved if all my dialogues that I have are tracked. So it's almost like it's, and maybe this is some kind of obsessive disorder. Because I've never heard anybody mention anything like this. Like I think a lot of people don't value words as much as I am, obviously. Because if they did, other people, I'm sure, would speak about the exact same predicament. I'm sure it wouldn't just be me, you know? It wouldn't. If it really mattered to people, it wouldn't matter, you know? What am I even saying? If it really mattered to people, like what? If it really mattered, if words really mattered, if things really mattered to people, they would remember, or there would be a shared experience. But what I'm thinking is there's something about me that I was like chasing something that was like the wrong place for it. Like it's not more meaningful to have private conversation, especially since most people have lousy memories and, you know, probably care more about random food or random thing in their life than like a meaningful conversation had with somebody, you know. And at least, again, if it's permanent like this, it's more likely that somebody could appreciate it more if I'm putting it in a public format, right? There's a higher chance that somebody could see it because it's at their own leisure or convenience. Half the time, the problem with private relationships and social connections is that there's so much error with scheduling. Like half the time I'm there, I'm always available, I'm working overtime to have to compromise with the other person's lousy schedule, and then people aren't really aware, and like then they're getting mad at me, I'm getting disappointed at them. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. But then I realize a public relationship such as this, none of that's a problem. And that's kind of at first why I rejected it so deeply, because to me it felt like insignificant because, yeah, I mean, I make a YouTube video and post it. That can be watched anytime. Like, who cares? That's not special. What's really special is a private conversation with a person who really hears it, values it, and remembers it. And I'm still correct in that regard. But the problem is, I don't think people like that exist. And if I ever find someone like that, then I'm sure we would both be able to have a pretty deep connection and friendship and all that good stuff. But for the time being, I'm just giving up. And I'm really, it's not worth putting even an ounce or a crumb of effort into that, where this, putting an ounce of effort into it, at least I know it's permanent. At least I know this conversation that I'm having right now, somebody someday could find. And again, I think it's a little bit messy now. It's a little bit ahead of its time. But eventually, I would assume AI is going to be able to comb through things. And so even though it's unedited and it's just raw and it's just being put out there, I kind of have a vision that YouTube in the future, there could be some... And honestly, YouTube, you better cut me a check, because this idea is crazy and it's good. But you wouldn't have people creating shorts. It would basically be an algorithm that is hardwired to your brain that is able to, instead of you swiping through short form content that has been created for short form, you're swiping through a long form feed that has sections of the video ready to play for you, that the Neuralink and the AI can read your brain and think you would like this specific section the most, and it would get it down really accurate because it's hardwired into your brain. So it knows exactly the type of clips of videos you would want, and there would be no need for editing because it would just play it out how you'd want it, and you could just swipe through it. So when that's the case, yeah, a lot of these videos are going to be wasted, but sections of the video are probably going to be found and enjoyed. And so I'm going to be way ahead of the game in that regard. And yeah, I think it's just going to take a couple years for my content to actually matter. But when it does, it's going to be a very large library. Anyways, it's been schla, but now it's time to buy schla. So, see ya schla.